Right, hello everyone and welcome to episode number 5 of Friday Football Fix. So getting you in the mood for a weekend of football with some football fix on a Friday night. So that definitely weren't about my 10th attempt at doing that. But anyway, here we go. So my name is Adam, I've got my girlfriend Lizzie with me once again. Are you excited for this episode?
Always.
Of course you are. Yes, so episode number 5 today. For those of you watching this on the premiere, hello, get yourselves in that live chats and let's get talking. As you're watching this, if you are watching it live, I will be on my Christmas night out. So I'll probably dip in and out of the chat just to see what's going on. And I'll try and reply to you. So yeah, if you've got any questions, anything you want to comment on the live video, then feel free to do that. I will get back to you at some point. It might be a bit delayed, but I promise I will. Friday at 6 p.m.
Well, I'll be about anyway. So
yeah,
they can always ask me.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, we're filming this on the Thursday night, so we've got a few different subjects to talk about. It's been a pretty quiet week of news, I think, this week. So, I think the best place to start is going to be the Champions League. So, it's been the last round of all the European competitions. We've got the Europa League and the Conference League, which is going on literally as we speak. We've just been watching the first half of Brighton versus Marseille. So that gives you kind of where we are time-wise. So the Champions League, however, has all played out, and we now know who is going through to the knockout stages, who is dropping into the Europa League, and who is out of European football. And that includes 2 English teams going out at this stage. So Newcastle United, I think we should talk about first. So they lost 2-1 at home to AC Milan last night. I thought it played pretty well, to be fair, especially in the first half. But it wasn't enough on the night, unfortunately. At one point, it looked like we're going to finish ahead of PSG and get into the knockout stages. But in the end, they've ended up with no European football at all. And yeah, that's the end of Europe this season for Newcastle. And the other team that also has gone out was a bit of a surprise, Manchester United. So, yeah, on paper, it didn't look like it weren't an easy group, but it didn't look like the toughest group. Obviously, Bayern Munich, which is a tough match, and then FC Copenhagen and Galatasaray. So, I don't want to say it weren't the hardest group, but it weren't the easiest group either. They ended up losing 4 of the 6 matches, and they've gone out in the group stages. Last few years, we've not seemed to have done well in Europe.
At all.
I was going to say, last few years, we haven't done well in Europe. But
they're not doing well in the Prem either.
No.
Everyone's moaning about what's wrong with Man United. It's hardly a surprise they've lost a game.
I know, it's just kind of with that group. I mean, Galatasaray, it's always hard going away to Galatasaray, but, you know, it's a winnable group, that I think. Well, I don't want to say winnable group. It's a group, you know, you'd look at it and you'd be like, okay, we can get through to the last 16 here. But yeah, it's been another poor year in Europe for Manchester United. As for Manchester City and Arsenal, though, they made pretty easy work of their groups. They both qualified with a game to spare. So they've got themselves a runner-up in the last 16 minutes. So yeah, good news for both City and Arsenal, which you kind of expect in their group as well. And another interesting story from Champions League is Celtic. It's not been a good time for me in Champions League lately, but I bet you didn't notice, they've now ended a 10-year run without a home win. They ended it last night. They beat Feyenoord by 2-1, a last-minute winner to do that. So now that monkey's finally off their back.
Exciting. Gives you faith that even teams of the quality of Scottish Premiership teams can do well at the big stage. Maybe Rovers could have a chance of winning once every 10 years at home. It's about the same quality.
No.
Sorry.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
It always makes me laugh when they say, we should move the Celtic and Rangers into the Prem. It's like, what? So they can prop up the table? Great. Just don't get it
interesting
that
how
well.
they do, but
They're not Championship standard at best.
I think they do. I think it's an odd one because I think if you put them in right now, they probably would be, I'd say lower, bottom half at Prem. I think they'd be around kind of, I'm trying to think, like your Wolves, your Palace, around that kind of area, like mid-table to bottom, to mid to bottom, basically. Be interesting if you put them in there though to see how because they'd attract quite a few players, I think, to Celtic and Rangers. So I think, like I say, if they survive that first year, I think they would be quite a good team in the Prem. So yeah, that is that's kind of it. Apart from Man U, not really many kind of big surprises in the group stages. Quite a lot of them went kind of as expected. Other team I really thought would do a bit better were Benfica, to be fair. They had Inter, Real Sociedad, who's had a cracking Champions League campaign, and RB Salzburg. And
they're all good teams, though.
Yeah, they are all good teams. But I just thought it's not that they didn't qualify. It's more, I think they only got, I think we're at, 1 win and 1 draw out of that group. So you'd expect them to do a bit better than 4 points, but it is still a tough group, like you say. So now we are into the last 16 then. So the draw for that's taking place on Monday at 11 a.m. So a few winners at groups. You've got Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, Dortmund, Man City and Barcelona as your winners. So Spain have been pretty dominant there, with 4 of the 8 groups being won by a Spanish team, which is pretty impressive. We did have 5 in it because of, I think it was the Europa League. So we have got that extra team in it. And as for your runners-up, you've got FC Copenhagen, PSV, Napoli, Inter Milan, Lazio, PSG, RB Leipzig, and FC Porto. So some decent ties there, potentially. Out of kind of the teams left in Champions League, is there anyone kind of... Who would you say are the favourites at the minute? Have you got a team that you think could go all the way?
It will be either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, I think. Depending on who they draw. But I just think Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham will carry their respective teams as far as they can go. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah.
It won't be an English club. That's certain. I think Man City have had their go now.
Yeah, the thing with City as well is they've fallen behind a bit on the league, so they'll be wanting to catch up and like try and, if they can, like get back in. Yeah, I'm gonna say get back into back into first for starters, and then try and, like I say, get a bit of breathing space. I mean, like I say, we're down in 4th at the minute, so they might have a bit more focus on the league, especially with winning Champions League. Last year, that monkey's kind of off the back now.
Yeah.
And Arsenal still without Champions League yet. Could be a year they win the first one.
I don't think so.
But there's potential for some good ties here. Like I said, I don't think you can look past Madrid. They won 6 out of 6 of the group games.
That's what I mean. Bayern got Harry Kane, and if you've got Harry Kane in your team, Harry Kane took Tottenham to a Champions League final a few years ago. So
I mean, they've looked scary good in the
who's
groups.
saying that you can't go one further with a better team around him, I guess.
I think a surprise package as well, although I say a surprise package, could be Dortmund. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they've got potential to go really far if they get the right draw.
Bellingham and Haaland are though. I know, but there seems to be.
I know, but they're doing really well. Like I say, they're doing well in the league. They're doing well in Champions League. They did very unlucky last year not to win the league as well. It's things seem to be going well at Dortmund at the minute. But yeah, it's like I say, that draw will take place on Monday at 11. So a group winner will play a runner-up. You can't get anyone who is in the same group you or who's from the same country. So yeah, it's going to be...
Well, how do you think there's so many Spanish teams though? How the hell's that work?
Luckily, like all the ones that's gone through finished top of the group, so that won't be an issue anyway.
Right,
okay. Be separated.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I didn't realise that.
I don't really get that rule, to be fair, because it goes in quarter-final.
Why does it matter? Who cares?
I don't really know why it's in there, but nevertheless, anyway.
I guess is it like it might just be like a away for money grabby thing where like we want to see teams that don't normally play each other.
Yeah, possibly.
And like that's a bit more so like. You know, you're not going to always see Arsenal play Real Madrid. Because they can't even play them. Arsenal play Inter.
Yeah, same
or
thing.
PSG or something like that, where it's like it's such a rare thing.
Yeah.
That it brings up views, and it's like the Super League. The concept of that was based on that,
I suppose it does add to it as well because, like I say, if you say like for example Newcastle, if they did get through to round of 16 and we got Man City, it's a bit like we're playing these in the league all the time. We want a big like.
No, I get that, but then
you want like Real Madrid away or
the
something
bigger
like
teams are all English teams, really, aren't they? Like, so I guess it's more for like, if you say you get PSG versus I don't know Man City, that's a massive money grabby game.
Yeah.
Same with like your Dortmunds versus your Inter, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
The thing I don't necessarily understand is why they split up the runners up and the winners. Like you all got through.
No, that makes sense because it's kind of an incentive to win your group.
Yeah.
So then you get an easier tie.
Like the World Cup then.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right, next up, a bit of a team that's kind of gone under the radar this week has been Fulham. They've won back-to-back games and 2 in a week, 5-0. So the first one was last Wednesday, where they beat Nottingham Forest by 5-0, and then at the weekend on Sunday, they beat West Ham by 5-0, both at home. Bit of an interesting one as well, Raul Jimenez. He's got 3 in his last 2.
Wow.
He's kind of a bit form because it seemed like after that injury
That he was never going to come back to his former glory.
Exactly, yeah. And, it's horrible to see, but that does happen because, I mean, you can imagine, like, every time he goes in for a header, you'll be shitting yourself, but that's going to happen again because it was awful. Because I watched a match of a day where it happened, you can literally just hear a massive thud.
You know what it reminds me of?
Sicken
him. When Rob Jones broke his neck. And like he never headed the ball the same again for like the rest of his career.
They do it just like because it's that like PTSD in a way from.
And that's like your MO as well.
Yeah, it's like serious injury. I mean, he's had to wear that that protection around his head just to make sure, like I say, his injury's protected. But yeah, with Fulham, I know it's Forest and West Ham. I know, no disrespect, but it's not like, one of the big 7. But still, to win 2 games in a row, 5-0 in the Premier League, takes some doing. And like I say, Jimenez, Willian getting a goal or 2 as well.
I saw
it's like the old guard coming back. It's
on Football Focus, and he came across really well.
Yeah. It's one we didn't kind of see coming because I kind of predicted Fulham. I thought they'd do all right and survive, but I didn't think they'd do as well as maybe they did last year. But they've risen up the table a bit again, and they are, like I say, they're getting themselves into the top half and doing a lot better than I expected, really.
Marcus Silva still there?
Yeah, he is, yeah. Yeah, he's doing a good job. I don't mind Marcus Silva.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I just didn't know if he was still there.
Yeah, it's proven kind of you don't need Mitrovic as much as I thought.
No, yeah.
The kind of that's the thing.
I forgot he'd gone.
It's a bit like, I did as well.
Like the Harry Kane effect, isn't it? When you've not got that big target, your focal point, you play a bit better.
I was literally just about to say that. You could see it on my tongue, couldn't you?
No.
Well, yeah, it's literally that because that's the good thing. Like the goals are spread around the team a bit more now. Yeah. It's a bit like Tottenham, although they have fallen off a bit lately. But
but they don't matter.
But I'm going to say
it's first year.
Yeah,
and they'll probably keep Ange because they actually have patience, unlike most bloody clubs at the top.
Yeah, but it's trying along nicely for them, kind of going under the radar a bit. And speaking of Tottenham, they got back on track nicely with a 4-1 win against Newcastle on Sunday night. We've kind of stuttered a bit, Tottenham, but they've picked up a bit again.
I have a question for you about Newcastle.
Go on.
Do you think Eddie Howe will get sacked?
No, I don't. Not personally. I hope he don't.
I hope he don't.
I think the thing with Newcastle as well, we've got a lot of injury problems.
We could do
they're really struggling with injuries.
I'd like him to wait until after the Euros. So if we don't do well and Southgate goes, Eddie Howe can be the manager.
I'd love that. That'd be
so
amazing.
hold on to him for like another season.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, I think he'll be all right. I think they have got a lot of injuries in the squad, and it's still early days. We're still doing all right. I think we're 7th at the minute. We're still doing okay. Like I say, it's going to be more when that squad.
It's not to be sniffed at. Look at Chelsea, for God's sake. There's
a lot of
teams that are not doing that. That are doing worse. That are bigger clubs.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. But I'm going to say that, like I say, we're still hanging in there even with these injuries. And yeah, I think they'll come back. I think we're just hitting a bit of a. Every team has it. We're having a bit of a.
And also, it's European football as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's probably not helping.
That might help them now that they've, like I say, obviously they want to keep going as long as possible. But now they're out of that, they've not got to worry about playing, like I say, Sunday, Wednesday. It's going to be a bit easier for them now. Another result: Everton picking it up again, as you spoke about with Chelsea. They beat Chelsea by 2-0.
Sean Dyche, mate, it's the future.
Yeah, and this is kind of thing where you've got to kind of stick it through because we're talking, we're going to go.
Well, when we played them, they were absolutely terrible. They were probably one of the worst teams I've seen at the Keep Moat all year.
Yeah, and it's a bit like what we say with us. It takes time to implement it.
Yeah, especially with new set of players and sign-ins and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes at Everton.
Yeah, it looks like it's finally, like I say, starting to click a bit. They're getting clean sheets. They're getting, good wins against, like I say, Chelsea, and they're starting to. They had that obviously points deduction, and they're really Newcastle. That's the other team I were about 3-0, and then like I say, they have that points deduction, but they're
still safe.
I'm going to say that's what I mean. put a bit of a gap between themselves at bottom three now. So yeah,
good on them.
aye, and another result. Speaking of Man U not having a great time at minute, Man United 0, Bournemouth 3.
Yeah, that is, again, I'm not surprised at all. Like, I just think they're having one of them seasons again. I was saying at work, I think Ten Hag is probably on quite thin ice now, unfortunately for him. Yeah. There's no patience at Manchester United. He'll go, I reckon. I don't think he'll be at Christmas.
I I weren't surprised by Bournemouth winning. It was more of a scoreline, like 3-0.
Yeah.
Not many teams go to Old Trafford and get a 3-0. 3-0 victory. I mean, there's like, a smash and grab win, but there's very rarely, a big scoreline. But yeah, fair play to Bournemouth. They're doing all right at a minute. Bournemouth. They had a bit of a shaky start, and it looked like they were pretty doomed, but they have picked it back up again now.
Yeah.
Right. In other news as well, in the Championship, we've got some new records. So not just one team, but two teams, both the automatic promotion places. So both Leicester and Ipswich have both got the record amount of points for at this time this season. So that's after 21 games. So both played 21 games. Leicester so far 52 points, winning 17, drawing 1 and 3 losses. And then Ipswich are just a point behind on 51 points.
They've really closed the gap, haven't they,
I'm
Ipswich?
going to say, we're 16 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. I'm going to say they went top for one stage because they played on Tuesday. And then Leicester won on the Wednesday, so they were at top for a bit as well. But yeah, they've both so far got the most points out of any other team in Championship history after 21 games. Reading were the previous record holders in the 05-06 season, but both Leicester and Ipswich have overtaken them, so 18-year record.
The quality at the top of the Championship is just getting better and better year on year. Like, look
ridiculous.
at Burnley last year as well. They just seem to, like, every year you think, there's no way that someone will do as well as such and such team did last season, and then the team goes and does better.
I've always said, especially me and my dad, we've always said kind of like in the Prem, it's not kind of one division, it's kind of split up into at least 3 divisions. You've got like your top 6 or 7, then you've got kind of like your rest, and then those who are fighting for relegation kind of every year. Championship's kind of becoming a bit more like that. You've kind of, you'll have your surprises, a bit like in Prem, but then you kind of know which teams are going to be there or thereabouts every year. Most of the teams coming down are going to, at least be fighting for playoffs, and you kind of know which teams are going to be mid-table, not really having much to play for, which teams are going to be fighting out for relegation. It's kind of becoming a bit more like that with the Championship, in my opinion.
These are the exciting things that are discussed at dinner in the Gittings household, by the way.
Oh yes, of course. And speaking of that kind of top, Sunderland beat Leeds United by a goal to 0 on in midweek as well. So
interesting. Since that's made gone.
Yeah, and that's made the gap even bigger between Leicester and Ipswich and Leeds. I think it's 10 points. 10 points now between Ipswich and Leeds. So
I'd be really happy if Leeds made the playoffs, because we all know how good they are in playoff finals.
Yep, I'm going to say Watford gave them a rate hammering, didn't they? I mean, yeah, of course. And we might have. James Hayter might have.
Plastic.
James Hayter might have had something to say about that as well. But yeah, I'm going to say Sunderland beating Leeds.
Because they're getting some foreign fella in, aren't they? My brother was telling me.
Yeah, I can't fully remember his name, but
from elsewhere.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when we do that, because it's a bit like Brighton. They kind of got.
I wonder if they had him lined up already.
Potentially, although he's not. Like I say, he's not in yet. Whether that's like I say visa issues or whatever, but yeah, it does make you think. Was he, like you said, were he already lined up?
Going on
were he already lined up
to
take that? But like I say, the gap at the top is, or between the top 2 is getting a bit bigger. But something that is closing is the gap at the bottom. So that don't include Rovers and Wednesday, but that third bottom spot is. I don't want to say fighting for places. They're kind of fighting to avoid that place. So QPR currently occupy it. They're on 20 points. Then you've got Huddersfield and Millwall on 21 points, Stoke on 22 points, and Plymouth on 23 points. It looked like at one point QPR were pretty much adrift with Rotherham and Wednesday, but they've caught up a bit, and I think that, like I say, Huddersfield's in absolutely dreadful form.
We could end up with an entirely Yorkshire bottom three.
Easily. I can
And
see
it'll
it.
be really sad when we don't get promoted that we can't go and play all of these nice local teams.
I know.
It always really frustrates me that when there's like loads of teams that are nearby and we're sat having to go to Newport and stuff. It just doesn't seem very fair to me.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, not all.
But yeah, I can easily see that. And I thought QPR were doomed as well. But it seemed to have caught them up a bit. There's only a point difference
Yeah,
now.
and that's another foreign manager I'd never heard of that they brought in and seems to have helped him out a little bit.
Yeah.
Rotherham and Wednesday are done for now. I think especially Rotherham. If you watch our good friend Ian's vlog from the last Rotherham game, I have never heard a man more on the edge.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I'm going to talk a bit about Rotherham, more about Rotherham in just a second. But yeah, Wednesday they've picked up a few decent points. They beat Blackburn, beat Stoke, and they took Norwich close. I know we ended up losing, but it's still not great, but it's definitely getting better under Danny Roll. It's like you say, I think it is too little, too late, and it's going to be too big of a mountain to climb. But they're giving us a fighting chance. They've definitely improved, and you can kind of tell fans are getting a bit more happy. But I did say I was going to go back to Rotherham, so they have just appointed a manager. So we've got Liam Richardson in now. Then so he's joined Rotherham. He was a former Wigan Athletic manager when they won League One back in 2022. And an interesting fact that I didn't know about him is he spent a long time being Paul Cook's assistant.
That makes sense.
So so he was assistant at Chesterfield. He followed him there from Accrington Stanley, which were his only other first team manager role. So he was assistant at Chesterfield, Portsmouth, and at Wigan. Paul Cook wanted him to join him at Ipswich when he left Wigan, but he declined and stayed at Wigan and became their first team manager. So, what do you make of Liam Richardson as an appointment?
Well, they offered it to about 10 people and they all declined, didn't they? So
When Nathan Jones declined it, I think we talked about it last week.
Someone else as well. They offered it to someone else.
It's been a few. There has been a few.
I'm never going to remember.
If it comes to your head, anytime it's recorded, if it comes to you, just blurt it out, just shout it out.
Yeah, but they've offered it to a few people, 2 or 3, and they've all gone, no thanks, don't want to go manage at Rotherham. Gary Rowett! Is that one? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, they've offered it to a few people, so I feel like he's 3rd, 4th, 5th choice, and it's just like, how can you be excited about that if you're not got the person you've sought out to get? Yeah,
it's only thing really that, like you say, sticks out. He's got that, winning League One.
Yeah, I was going to say, that'd be good for next season.
He did all right. Yeah, he did all right with him. He had a lot of, like I say, they had a lot of
No, that's when they got into all the financial trouble, though, isn't it?
They had a lot of issues when they went back up, and I'm going to say the financial issues came back, a lot of trouble off the pitch. And
so you wonder if it was his managerial prowess or just them spending a fortune on players that are too good for League One.
Yeah, it could be a genius move, like I say. He is quite unproven. He's not got the biggest array of experience, but like I say, he has worked under Paul Cook for a while, so he has seen an experienced manager. He's like, he has
but then
helped him put the cones out.
I was listening to an interview with Ian Holloway, and he was saying like it don't matter if you worked for them, you're just never going to be the same manager. Look at Arteta and Pep. When Arsenal got Arteta, they thought they were going to get Pep 2.0, and actually they work very differently. They play different styles. As much as you learn from people, you don't copy them. So
well, that's not the point. It'd be pointless copying them because Arteta's not Pep.
Danny Schofield, for instance.
I'm going to say, the thing is, you pick up from them and then you implement it in your own way. So it is going to be interesting to see if Richardson can do that, because it seems like Rotherham, they have got a lot of issues at the minute, and to be honest, the squad's just not good enough for the Championship.
Most of them are injured as well. That's the
a
problem.
lot of injuries. And
apart from Victor Johansson, they've not really got any Championship players, I don't think. They're not ones that are playing each week from fitness. And he'll probably go to a higher level Championship Premier League club in January.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Me at all.
Yeah, definitely. And as well with the managers, we had a sacking as well as hiring. We had Alex Neil getting sacked from Stoke City. So he's been there 15 months, and that was after a pretty poor 1-0 home loss to Sheffield Wednesday. So
he's getting sacked, losing to Wednesday today.
Yeah, he's not. It's just not worked for him at Stoke. I mean, he left from Sunderland, which seemed a strange decision.
He's been there about 10 minutes.
You don't know what happened. He might have had a fallout with or whatever, but it was a weird one because he'd just gotten promoted, and then like I say, is off to Stoke, which it's in a bit of a sideways move as well, but it just seemed a strange one. It seemed like something had gone off, but it just never clicked. Like, there've been rumours of him getting sacked for quite a while, like end of last season, and now he finally has done, and pretty rarely so, because like I say, they are one of them teams who are just above the bottom three and easily could get dragged into that. Have you seen Nuno
Santos?
Yeah, Nuno Santos is the favourite for the Stoke manager.
That is a really odd appointment.
I thought.
I mean, good fair play to him if they managed to get him, because he's a proven manager, but that's weird. Was he spending a lot of money?
I'm going to say, well, that's the thing, they have got a lot of money still.
Well, the parachute payments have just ended, haven't they? Like in the last... Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think they ended a few years ago, but their owners are really wealthy. I mean, one of my favourite YouTubers, HITC7, did a really good video on the most unluckiest club in England, which is Stoke City. And it really explains like the financial, like their owners are loaded. The partners of Bet365.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Absolutely loaded, but it kind of explains the situation a bit. They basically don't really know a lot about football. So they're kind of one of them people who are too stubborn to kind of get a CEO or director of football, So they're kind of like making all the decisions, but they're not really
making the right ones.
They're good business people, but they're not really good football people.
Yeah,
basically.
and that is important.
Spoiler for the video, but so yeah, it's they're an interesting club because one of them teams who had some really good years in Prem. They dropped down. I thought they'd just go straight back up, but they've not really. Every year been in Championship. I don't think they've been
ever
top half
since they
once.
sacked Mark Hughes, isn't it? Really, not been the same since then.
Yeah, it's a strange one with Stoke, but it's going to be interesting to see if they do get Nuno because, like I say, they have got money, so if you use it rightly,
fair enough.
I think it will be as well. Right then, time to talk about our club, Doncaster Rovers now, and so it feels like it's been a pretty quiet week. We've had a few midweek games, and we've not had one this week. I suppose last time we spoke, we were getting ready to go to Accrington Stanley, and boy, it's not one we're going to forget.
I'm still not dried out.
No,
I'm still wet.
Probably the coldest I've ever been at a football game. I know there's like a few that are like up there. I've been quite lucky. I've not had a lot that are absolutely freezing because I didn't go to many away games like when I was younger. But that's probably is my coldest.
It was awful.
To be fair, it said it said it was 9 degrees.
Fucking weird.
I think it's because, like I say, it was 50 miles per hour wind and it were pissing it down basically.
It was definitely in the minuses.
So we were soaked already. But awful. I'm sure after all that you're thinking, bloody hell, I hope you saw a good game to to make that trip worth it. It was 0-0. Not the best games to be fair. It was
given the conditions.
I was just about to say it's one of them games. So 0-0, them games can either go one of two ways. It's either a 0-0 with very few chances, or it's one of them where it's just chaos and people are shooting from everywhere, all sorts of blunders and mistakes, and it's like some crazy scoreline. This one, first of them. Not really many chances either way. Closest one was probably our keeper, Lewis Jones, who built a ball out of his hands and it nearly flew past the keeper.
I'd love to see a goal score. That's one of my bucket list things.
In person, it'd be amazing.
Well, I've seen it on the telly.
But you know what I mean. What I was disappointed with, though, especially first half, at this point we didn't test their keeper a bit more.
Yeah, especially because the wind were blowing in the right direction as well in the first half, wasn't it? They could have been carried in. Yeah, I was going to say, first half, we were shooting into the wind, and it proves with Jones' goal kick, if you catch it, if the wind's going to take it, it just makes it so awkward for the keeper. And especially in first half, you want to, like I say, if it's 0-0 while you're trailing, you've got that coming at you in the second half. And to be fair, they didn't really use it to their advantage either. They didn't take many shots, and I'm not a professional footballer, but like I said, I'd be just shooting and doing a bend close.
Literally, because you never know. It just takes one to get carried by the wind, and in them conditions with raining eyes and all the swerve on ball, it could go anywhere.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I didn't think it was bad. I thought it were good defensive performances from both teams.
I would say a couple of months ago we'd have lost that.
Oh, 100%.
So, progress.
100%, yeah.
And, Accrington went on to beat Lincoln, who are in the division above the Tuesday after that. So they obviously got it in.
No, it wasn't a bad performance by
it was just,
any means.
To be honest, I don't remember that much about the game.
No.
Because I was so fucking wet and so cold.
It was so fun, though.
It was really fun. And I had one of my favourite pies of all time, like the best pie.
That was a good pie. Yeah.
Accrington's steak and pepper pie.
That was a good pie.
I would eat one now. So good.
I could do that.
They had good beer and it was cheap. We had some great boozers in Accrington as well.
That deal they had in the concourse, it were pie and a beer for £6.
Most football stadiums you go to, the beer on its own is £6, so that's pretty impressive, especially the ones we've been going to this year, it feels like.
Definitely.
It's great boozers in Accrington.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a walk between the centre of the crowd, especially.
I'm going to say there is
Gale Force Winds.
Yeah, there is a clubhouse right outside of the ground which does let away fans in, so if you are going, you can use that. We stayed in the town centre and went into Spoons because,
we want to stay warm for as long as possible, I think. Basically.
Staying warm, you don't want to risk going all the way there, not being let in, and then there'd be nothing else around, and it was just good,
apart from the weather.
Exactly. And
to wring out your clothes when you get home.
Another good thing is we've ended our streak of winning one, losing one, because we've done that for so many games in a row. And we've only got our third draw of the season as well, and so did they. That were only their third draw as well.
Interesting.
And, so we've ended that streak because literally we'd win one, then lose one, then win one, and then lose one. So now at least, like I said, we've got a draw. So hopefully we can, go back to winning ways at the weekend. And I think that's where we should kind of go next to the weekend, because not a lot has happened over the week. So Morecambe at home on Saturday. Interesting.
I'm so excited.
17th against 12th. It's they've had a bit of a change recently. Like I say, manager Derek Adams has gone to Ross County.
Have you got anyone else in yet?
They have, but I can't remember his name. We've had quite a lot of things like ownership as well. We've had a few issues there. I know been wanting to sell the club for a while, and it's been a bit. I think the board aren't happy with the owners or something like that, saying they're a bit incompetent, and a few issues there with Morecambe.
We could be playing them at a better time, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say there. I think they'd lost. I think it was four. I've wrote it down from the pre-match stuff. I'm not going to on me, but I think they'd lost 4 in a row before the last match, which were a 1-1 draw at home to Stockport, which is a decent result. That includes a 6-0 loss to Wrexham as well. So they've slipped down the table a bit. We're doing really well, but they are on a bit of a downward spiral at the minute. And like I say, we've got a good home record, so hopefully we can get back going against them. And the final thing is Rovers have implemented a new ticketing tier list.
They're trialling it, aren't they?
They're trialling it at the Harrogate game because basically what happens is it's quite a local game. It's one of the lower allocations you get in the season, and kind of them two mixed in. A lot of people struggled for tickets. Last year we only just got tickets. So basically they're tiering it, so it's based on, you get points for doing certain things like, if you've got a season ticket for every away match, every cup match, you get so many points. And basically we're doing it on a tier list. So basically everyone over 35 points gets priority, and then it goes down to somewhat like 30 points, and it keeps going like that until the tickets are gone. What's your thoughts overall on this?
I don't know. I've heard conflicting opinions, and I honestly don't really know where I stand on it. Just see how it works. I mean, for me, it literally makes no difference to me because I barely miss a game. So there's no situation where I'm not at the top of a list like that. Yeah. But then I understand the argument of like, well, it's a bit tin pot, a League Two team doing something that mostly Premier League teams do, which I also totally get. And I also think it does limit bringing new people that could potentially become long-term fans.
My opinion, I like it. I think it's a really good idea. I know what people are saying about it. We're a League Two team, but it kind of, it's one of them because you are going to get games where you sell out. I mean, Wrexham sold out, Stockport sold out. I know it weren't as much of a scramble as tickets for Harrogate were, but then it's like if you get into like, so like you get to a playoff semi-final, you get to say like you play Barrow in a playoff semi-final, who's got a small allocation. It's like. That's I know. But it's one of them, like, you are going to be fighting for tickets. I think it is a good idea, and it is a good idea if you do move up the leagues, because I'm not saying we're going to do what Luton and Bournemouth done, but look at them. They're small clubs who before, had a smaller fan base than us, and, they'll be fighting for tickets for every away game now. It is a good idea, and I think in terms of new fans coming in, I think it's one of them. Like you say, we're not going to sell out every game. So
No.
if you are a new fan, it's like it's a good. You know, you're going to get to go to all these different away games, especially ones like say like your Crew, your probably Morecambe later in season. Speaking of them,
way to win them over.
I know. I'm going to say, but it's one of them. You guaranteed a ticket.
No, I know.
You don't get too many. It's like, you know, you get your yeah, that's a good way to introduce it, and then you can, like you say, you can build your points up. I think the system is going to need some working on because it seems a bit of a weird. I don't think it's looking at it at the minute. It don't look perfect, but it's one of the things. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's a trial. It's the trial for the first time, and that's what kind of a trial.
That's
what a trial is. You kind of see what goes well, see what doesn't go well, and then you can keep doing what goes well, and then change what doesn't go well.
Well,
yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll happen after that. I mean, I said this to my brother. I was like, "Isn't the answer to avoid another Harrogate situation to just get bloody promoted and play teams with actually decent-sized away ends?" Do you know what I mean? Like, when we got promoted, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, if we can stop playing these teams with like 200 seats in the away end or whatever,
you're not wrong.
We'll just, if just not have to play them anymore. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about going to Barrow or fucking Harrogate. We can just go to like Wigan.
Unfortunately, I wish this were true, but it's not. I wish fans would win your games, but they don't. Unfortunately, it's so frustrating.
And it's like,
because we do have really good away support.
For League Two, but then any other division up, we don't really, because we're surrounded by much bigger, more successful clubs. So it's kind of like it. I don't know. It's a weird one. I think the club are doing the right thing, trying it out, but whether it stays or whatever,
I think it's a great idea, and it's like I say, it's the start of it, and it's just one of the things that's going to get better over time. Right, so have something different now. So this is kind of a story that's not a big news story. It might be something that's a bit less known, something funny, a feel-good story, something interesting, just something different that you want to talk about, basically. So I'll let you go first this week on something different. I'll go first on debate this. So what's your something different?
My something different is the sad news that one of my favourite goalkeepers in the non-league pyramid, Tom Crosby, has left Retford United, and I am devastated. That's why that is my something different. He's been there for 3 years. He's a little guy, but he makes some amazing saves. Like, it kind of blows my mind a bit how good a shot stopper he actually has been, especially in the games that we've seen. I mean, you've got it in your vlogs quite a few times, him making incredible saves. And I'm just sad that he seems to have left and isn't going anywhere, or he hasn't signed for anyone as of yet. And I'm sad about it because I like him.
Yeah, he'll definitely get another club. The thing is, like people were saying in the comments, like non-league clubs are going to be queuing up for him. Is like I say, he's small for a keeper, but his agility and just
for a big lad as well.
Yeah, he's got some good. Yeah, he pulls off some good saves. I think he has played at a higher level for. I seem to think he was at Stocksbridge at one point, but he's he'll definitely get. Like I say, people are desperate for keepers as well, because you see some clubs like where they lose a keeper and they're having to play like the right back in that and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't remember what player it was,
we saw it. Where did we see it? Was it Shirebrook, where it was the goalkeeper in the net? It was Shirebrook Ollerton, wasn't it?
Ollerton, I was thinking.
Had their right back in.
Right. That's the one I was thinking.
There we go.
Yeah. So there's always people crying out for keepers. He's a good keeper. They seem to have lost quite a few players, Retford, at the minute. I hope everything's going all right there.
I do. I love it there. It's my favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to speculate. It's like, but it is always interesting when a lot of players leave, and there's been a lot in and a lot out. So, and I've always thought that's kind of been the thing that keeps Retford together, like the togetherness.
Yeah, the actual
always been
team effortness.
Yeah, so you kind of hope with new players coming in that doesn't change.
But they get it as well. They get what Retford's about. They get the fan base, because it's such a community club, isn't it?
Yeah.
That like you don't want a different 11 every week. You want a team that is consistent and gets you see him in the clubhouse and you know him and they talk to you. And I'll miss Tom a lot. And I know a lot of our Retford fan friends will miss him as well. So.
Well, like I say, we're a well-run club, but they're not daft. So.
I mean, their owners are Mansfield Town's owners, and look at Mansfield.
Yeah, they're not daft. They'll know what we're doing. So hopefully, like I say, it works out and they can continue to have a good season.
Yeah, up the Badgers. Should have put my hat on for this segment.
That'd have been good. Right, my something different then. A bit of bit of a random story. It's just one that I came across. I was like, that's something different. I'm going to put it in. So Dean Smith, he is now in the States. He is now a manager of Charlotte FC. I just thought it was a bit random.
Where is Charlotte? What state?
Oh, don't do this to me.
Oh, sorry. I'll Google it. You talk, I'll Google it.
Oh, it's in middle of America. It's not. I'm sure it's in middle.
Charlotte Rangers, did you say the team was called?
I think it's just Charlotte FC. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's the one. Yeah. So yeah, Dean Smith has gone there. Not really a lot to add on that, to be fair. I just thought it was interesting. It weren't like newsworthy enough to put as a main story to talk about, but I just thought something a bit different.
Going
yeah, good.
Yeah. The States,
I was going to say it's decent gig, to be fair. He's away from British press. He's living up large. He's like I say, he's an ex-Premier manager.
So
he
does all right as well.
I would say that they always like it if you're ex-Premier or whatever.
Or Premier League, as they say.
Yeah,
in America.
exactly. they'll like that. So yeah, good luck to him over there. Hope he does well.
I do, bless him.
Okay, so time for our final segment now, which is Debate This. So this is kind of a segment where me and Lizzie, we don't have a clue what we're about to ask each other. So it's basically, it could be a question, it could be a topic, it could be just something you want to debate, something you want to ask, and you kind of put them on the spot. They don't have a clue what's coming. So unfortunately for me, you've kind of covered this a bit earlier.
I know.
So
I'm sorry.
So basically, it's a bit random, but I was going to ask about England. So Southgate, there's a lot of rumours he's going to leave after the 2024 Euros, and a lot of talk about, like I say, potential other candidates. I know obviously Pep were in the conversation at one point. So it's kind of a two-part of this. My first question is, who would you like to be the next England manager? And second, who do you think will be the next England manager?
So I would like it to be an English manager because I think that's nice. So I would like it to be Eddie Howe or maybe Sean Dyche, someone like that.
Proper English manager.
Yeah, no, why not? Someone who's
good old Brexit Britain.
Not just that though, like it's the man management, like the thing everyone talks about with Southgate is the way he manages his squad. And I think both of those coaches have got a record of being at a club for 10 plus years.
You pretty much told me answer it.
Unifying a team together. And that's what you need for England because it's so long term. It's like obviously Sean Dyche was at Burnley for 9 years. Eddie Howe was at Bournemouth for the same amount of time.
Decent amount of time, yeah.
I think it was nearly 10 years. Maybe
something like that, yeah.
And like that kind of togetherness that they brought within that group made both teams punch above their weight. And I think, you know, having them amongst the golden generation, keeping the egos down, keeping them together and, you know, like Southgate, but with more excitement. You know, that's kind of the vibe. But it'll probably be Graham Potter or somebody equally as boring.
Yeah, pretty much same answer for me. To be
Sorry.
fair, I would love it to be Eddie Howe. I just think, kind of exactly what you've said here. At your big tournaments, you can have best man drink will, but if you don't know how to manage a tournament where you're all away, like 20 odd players away from different clubs. You know, different backgrounds, all stuff like that for
clubs with rivalries as well.
Yeah, clubs with rivalries for three to 4 weeks. If you can't manage them, and you know, you're screwed. I always think back to Fabio Capello at South Africa World Cup. It was kind of like golden generation raging a bit, but still,
even Sven, to an extent.
Yeah, but still, like it was rumoured, like I say, you'd just train and then you'd be like back in your rooms all night. We'd be nothing. Apparently bang ketchup and stuff like
Ben
that.
Foster
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a like...
Authoritarian.
Yeah, authoritarian. That's a bit better than what I was going to say. Yeah, he... and, you know, your players are going to be bored. They're going to be miserable. It's not kind of the... you know what you want. Whereas
you see on TikTok nowadays, don't you? It's
Southgate,
like they're all dicking around in the pool.
That's what you want. That's what you want. You want to keep the spirit high. You want to keep that togetherness. You want that because at the end of the day, you're away with each other for 3 to 4 weeks, and if you're mopey and all separated, hating each other, you know, all dead serious, you're not gonna do well in the tournaments. I mean, it's another thing when you're playing like on a Saturday, you can go home to your families and then just meet up night before, maybe stay at a hotel, or if you're at home, meet up on the Saturday. And then play, and then back to your families and stuff like that. It's different when you're away for this time, and I think Eddie Howe would be absolutely perfect. You see it with Newcastle. You see every time they had that win last season. The massive group photos that were having and stuff like that. Yeah, I was gonna say. Imagine him as assistant as well.
Oh my god!
Oh, that'd be quality.
When he's first one to hold the World Cup.
Oh, he'll be lifting the fucker. He'll be lifting it. You'll have
he's kissing the FA.
You'll have Harry Kane about to lift it. I'm like, nope, that's mine.
Yeah. You know what is another really rogue shout that I would love?
Go on.
Jose Mourinho. Oh my
god! That were before Capella. We were
rumoured. I love Mourinho to be England manager just because I love him.
I could see that. I don't think he's got long left at Roma as well, and I can see it.
And I think international management would suit him a bit more of his age. And,
I know.
I'd love that, and he'd probably play Tammy Abraham finally.
Yeah, I can see that.
There you go.
I won't mind Dyche, to be fair.
Sean Dyche.
It won't be how would be my first choice, but yeah, who do I think it'll be? Probably Graham Potter, to be honest with you. Which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that. I think if you're wanting someone to replace Southgate, he's pretty much a carbon copy of Southgate. I think he's probably a bit better of a manager. He seems like he's a decent man manager as well. I mean,
my only thing
he took a Brighton team full of average players and turned them into a very good team. And sold them on, like you say, he's sold them on, and we've not really done it at other clubs, a lot of them.
I would argue with you on that, because I think what has been proven since Potter left Brighton, goes to Chelsea, is that actually Brighton have just got a really good ownership model. And
they have. It's superb.
They've got fantastic scouts, and to be honest, anybody could probably make it work there.
Yeah, I get that, but I think kind of that started with Potter, and then we've recruited really well. This manager we've got is superb. Yeah. And I think Potter were also a good manager. I just think Chelsea were just... They were a mess. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think anyone... I mean, look at Pochettino now. He's a world-class manager.
He could do a job.
Oh, yeah.
Get sacked.
Yeah.
It's whether they want to be a manager, though. Because I can't imagine they pay as much as, say...
No.
Chelsea.
And it's one of them as well. You're like... it'd be good because you get to, like I say, you're watching them for, like, most of the season, like, scouting them and stuff like that. And then... Yeah. Like I say,
on
you got
telly all the time.
Yeah, and then you've got exactly, and then you've got your international breaks where you win. I would love Eddie Howe. I think it'd be perfect job for Eddie Howe, but
it's whether he wants to do it.
It's whether he's, like I say,
he's on Saudi money now.
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? It's how Newcastle do this season as well. Not saying he'll get sacked. It's whether, like you say, he'll be a bit like.
You'd hope that it's every English manager's dream. Right,
it should be.
It's a bucket list thing. So you'd hope that money wouldn't matter necessarily. You've been a footballer all your life. You've managed, well, we'll see. I don't know. There you go. Yeah. That's my answer.
He'll probably be Roy Hodgson again, won't
he? I love Roy. I give us our dumb
Harry Kane back on corners.
Oh, God. Okay, so my question for you. Earlier in the week, Forest Green played Scarborough Athletic in the FA Cup. It was a replayed game due to Forest Green having fielded an illegible player. A couple of weeks before that, Barnsley got kicked out of the FA Cup for fielding an illegible player. Why? How's that fair? Is my question for you.
Yeah.
And
I agree with
you. How is that? All right?
I agree with you. It's apparently before you. I know what you're going to say here, but just before you do, apparently it's a different rule. Apparently, but I don't know what it is, but apparently. The rule Barnsley broke and the rule Forest Green broke are different rules. Well, I agree with you. I mean, it is. If you want to research it, it is out there. I haven't looked into it because I just haven't. Yeah, that and I just haven't looked into it. It's one of the things you feel an illegible player. But there's got to be some reason behind it for them to do that to Forest Green and. To not do that to
They need to publicise the reasoning more clearly then.
Yeah.
That would be my...
It's like you've just said, the transparency is not there.
It's
took someone on Twitter to screenshot the rule. And,
That shouldn't be how it is. It shouldn't be some bloke on Twitter with a footballer as his icon. It should be the FA that make those statements and explain to you, this is why this has happened and this is why this happened as well before you kick off. Yeah. Because all you're going to do is get people kicking off if you don't explain it.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm with that. Yeah,
that was my question.
Yeah,
nice and easy.
Yeah, no, it is one of them. It's And to be fair, Forest Green probably should have been kicked out, but I don't know. That's the thing. There's no transparency, so I don't know what the difference is for what Forest Green's done to what the difference were for what Barnes has done. There obviously is some sort of rule, but we don't know what. They've basically put the same
statement out.
Yeah, the same statement
out. It was
out.
really strange. And then, for Forest Green, they did like an investigation, but like, they didn't talk about any investigation at Barnsley. It was just like, no, out, bye.
Yeah.
So like, what's the difference? Why did Forest Green get that treatment?
I think,
Is it
I think as well.
A lesser offence? If so, tell us that. Don't.
I think it might have been because Barnsley.
The vegans and everyone likes them.
I was going to say, I think it's because it all came out literally like the day before Forest Green's match, so they had to give a reason for postponing it. Whereas Barnes is like halfway through between first and second round, but still, you know, there needs to be, if we're going to do that, there needs to be more transparency, otherwise it's just going to confuse everyone. Right, so that brings us to the end of episode 5 of Friday Football Fix. How did you find that episode?
Yeah, fun.
It's been a bit of a quiet news week this week, but I feel I've got some good topics out there. And like I say, when it's a bit of a quiet news week in terms of stories, I do like talking about what's happened there the week before in the fixtures. So results wise, so yeah, it's been a good one. We've had some interesting topics. I enjoyed the debate this, and there's something different. It was good. If you have been watching on the Premier, thank you very much for sticking around for this long. We'll be around for just a couple more minutes, so if you want to leave any last questions or comments, feel free to before the live chat disappears. So if you are watching this on the Friday, the next matchday vlog will either be on the Saturday or Sunday with Doncaster Rovers versus Morecambe. We'll be back next Friday at 6 o'clock, last one before Christmas. So until then, take care. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're new here, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.